DIY.
DIYers, oh, it is very unfortunate that I'm here with a headline and story like this. I wish these sort of things didn't happen. You know, a week after we covered that whole Post Malone colonizer video and the terrible rebranding and how, you know, we just felt in general, I think a lot of us, that there are characters, there are people who come into this space of hip hop as commentators, cultural commentators, sometimes participants, that don't use their position. They don't use their welcoming, the welcome mat. They don't treat the house the way it should be treated as folks welcome them in with open arms. But the story that I have with you for today is between a very popular YouTube channel and What's the Dirt, who does, I think, some fantastic breakdowns, or has done some fantastically detailed breakdowns, and of course, someone else who has done actual journalism work, an accredited journalist, someone that I met back when I was just an independent artist trying to get my music on Hip Hop DX. He was the guy up there. That was the guy that you talked to. And Justin Hunt, the company man. Now, I've known Justin a hell of a lot longer than I've known What's the Dirt, but I've had contact with What's the Dirt because I reached out to him after I saw the 616 video breakdown. When I saw kind of him documenting the back and forth between Kendrick and Drake, I just felt like his details were great, which is why it's unfortunate that after he dropped this Family Matters breakdown, which he had been teasing for months about, matter of fact, when I reached out to him, he told me, when I asked him about doing an interview, he said, hold on, let me make sure I get this up here on the screen. He said, this is me reaching out to him in, July 10th. And I said, man, what's good, bro? Once again, I wanted to give you all the props for your ridiculously detailed videos you've been doing lately. I wanted to see if you'd be down to come on my channel and chop it up live about the battle and more. I put up a screenshot of one of you who left a comment about it. He responds, of course, bro. Hold on, let me make sure I get this over here. I'm trying not to get too much in here. Okay. Of course, bro. I'd absolutely be down or done. We should wait until after I drop the Family Matters because I just did 2 other interviews. I think a convo with you would be so dope. I'm hoping to drop that video here in July. Well, this is September now. And obviously those videos take a long time. Last message I left him, and these voice notes are kind of just echoing that. Not going to play those because this is man's privacy. That's his voice. Leave it alone. I said, man, that'd be amazing. For sure, keep me posted as you get closer to the release on that video, and we can set up a live stream that week. Now, as he was teasing the release of that video, there was another video that dropped where he was basically kind of showing the direction the video was going to go, and it did not seem to be putting a Kendrick Lamar in the most positive light. He's absolutely free to do things like that, but in this juncture, in this important moment within the culture, I didn't feel like it would be in the best interest of this channel, who obviously you know what side we've been on when it comes to the culture, to have him on here. But I still wasn't like wiping it off the table. But it just seemed like as we got closer to the release of that Family Matters video, some of the rhetoric started to change drastically. I don't know how many of you watch the video, but it's a 2-hour video in which he's breaking down Easter eggs from Drake. He's breaking down his own version of a 23andMe about how black Drake's origins are, and a bunch of other questionable things that the company man actually watched, because he watched it before I did. He told me about it, and I said, yeah, I saw the thumbnail. I see it's going crazy. I'm not interested in watching that. I just, 2 hours about, to me, what feels like the worst song, the biggest lie in all of this battle. I'm not really interested. But he said, I'm going to check it out because that's what journalists do. And that's what he did.
Somebody gonna have to tell the truth, and I'm gonna tell it.
When I tell you this man called me 2:00 in the morning, irate. I shouldn't say irate. He was disturbed. But it was like, because he cool as a cucumber. He like, what the hell, man? This is what it was. I'm going to catch this video, which is called What's the Dirt's Awful Take about the Drake Family Matters theory. And I'm going to pick it up from here, and we're going to get into the crash out that eventually came because of this video.
There are things that Matt just isn't in the position to properly contextualize. He's not in the position to be accurate about certain things. And his earnest efforts to be objective, he states a lot of opinions as if they are fact. A lot of his takes are very myopic, very narrow, and he frames things as if there are only two options or no options. This is what it has to be. And he's not necessarily doing that while trying to understand Drake's lyrics. He's taking his interpretation of these situations and stating them as fact. Here's an example that I'm talking about.
Drake starts off the track with a direct rebuttal to Kendrick's claims on Euphoria when Kendrick clowned him for his use of the N-word. Drake strategically trolls Kendrick by getting his own mother to start off the track, requesting that Drake not use the word.
Maybe in this song, you shouldn't start by saying...
It's pretty clever because his mother probably doesn't approve of him using this word either.
He said it's pretty clever.
She probably asked him many times over the years not to use it, but she ultimately couldn't do anything about it because Drake is half black, the other side of his family uses it, so she had really zero...
Drake is half black, the other side of his family uses it. I have a fundamental rebuttal to that. You notice how he said his mom probably didn't want him to use it. Probably for the mom. Let's listen to this one more time.
It's pretty clever because his mother probably doesn't approve of him using this word either. She probably asked him many times over the years not to use it, but she ultimately couldn't do anything about it because Drake is half black, the other side of his family uses it.
The other side of his family uses it.
I'm gonna even go another step. His mother probably. Since when does the breakdowns start including conversations you weren't in the room for? See, this is where it's dangerous. When somebody is as good as what's the dirt at finding the dirt, it's in his name, finding the information, going and diving deeper. It's dangerous when you're actually mixing facts with your opinion, but you're not clearly separating the two. The simple use of the word probably, which you're going to hear, he got angry about that. The simple use of probably, when we're talking about a lot of people who are watching these videos and not understanding the difference between what is fact and what is opinion, is not enough for them to get and grasp what you're getting at. So when I look at the probablys mixed together with some pretty great research, there are a lot of people who, you throw enough words at them, they think all of this shit is facts. I think that's problematic as well.
Okay, again, when I was talking about how I didn't realize middle schoolers and high schoolers were my primary audience, it still trips me out. I had no idea. I'm writing to compete with, Rachel Maddow. and all of a sudden, there's a whole nother demographic I'm not even considering. His goal is to have the best, most accurate coverage, the deepest dives into this. And these nuances, particularly in this battle, are extremely important. He gave probably to his mom and said clearly his that side of the family uses it. My family growing up didn't use the N-word.
You know what? Neither did mine. Neither did mine.
Somebody's gonna have to tell the truth, and I'm gonna tell it.
Now, my pops, professor and all that stuff, right? Like, my pops had every revolutionary black book that you can think of that was documenting the story of the Black Panthers, just documenting the Malcolm X autobiography, all that, right? So Pops was on this super black consciousness. But we did listen and hear NWA every once in a while. We did hear, Oranges, all these different songs. But damn it, if you say them words, that's your ass, little boy. That's your ass. So we knew. Me and my cousins, might be a different story. When we get around each other, right? Start playing, NBA Live or whatever. But in terms of like older black men and women, it's a very common thing that I see amongst our folks, and that there are a lot of folks who are like, no, you don't use them kind of words in my household. But I think that when you have people that come into this culture commentary space without having enough experiences, they treat blackness as a monolith. And that feels like exactly what's happening here.
I made a whole video on my channel called Just Say No to the N-word. I didn't say the N-word for 20 years. And then like 3-4 years ago, I was like, I feel like saying nigga again. I understand the power of that word, and not necessarily to just people of other communities and cultures, but amongst black people. I noticed the craziest part to me when I stopped saying nigga was that when I stopped saying it around black people, when black people around me over a longer period of time, or the more often they're around me over protracted periods of times, I stopped hearing it as much too. It's infectious, it's contagious, but it's not a word that every black family uses. It's not a word that's accepted in the household. It wasn't accepted in my household. I didn't start saying it to like middle school or high school in the first place, being around other people. Not every family uses that word. It's subtle distinctions like this that resonate loudly for the context of this battle, because it is a culture conversation that's happening. It's a culture conversation that's happening. This is small. Let's watch where he goes.
So she had really zero say in the matter. So he's pretty much saying, like, my own mom couldn't stop me. You're definitely not going to. And what's also...
Right. And so now he described all of this as clever, right? Which I also find
What are we doing?
to be a position that is very maybe looked at differently in other cultures, because in the culture that he's describing, i.e. Drake's father's side, it's not clever to disrespect your mom at the beginning of anything. It's not clever. It's not clever. Now, maybe he's talking about who Drake is talking to, and maybe Drake's talking to his audience, and maybe his audience is a different population of people, but that doesn't resonate with black people. I don't think that resonates with any kind of black people. But he's defining this as clever. And again, I'm still shocked every day that middle schoolers and high schoolers are the ones who are most impacted, or at least tell me on a regular basis, by the work I was doing however many years ago. He gives a probably for what his mom might think. He says definitely his family uses that word. He describes it as clever that he disrespects his mom at the beginning. And none of this context is actually true to the point that he's arguing in this battle.
Here's another issue that I find here, Justin, in that when you're given the probablys, when you're given so much confidence in a black experience that you've never lived, my question is, what makes you feel so confident to speak so confidently about these topics? That's where the conversations come to, well, have you been compromised? Who's feeding you the information to where you say without a shadow of a doubt, I'm putting this in a breakdown where I know people care about the details. I know for a fact, as a YouTuber myself, on those videos where I know that there could be legal ramifications for what I'm saying, slander, libel, I'm double checking every single word before that video gets exported. So I imagine there's gotta be a level of confidence when you're delivering theories like this with as much confidence as he seems to exude on that. So it only, if one of them is not true, then what is the other one? Are we getting information? Is somebody feeding you information because you have a large platform that could change the narrative around someone's name like a Drake, allegedly? We're fair to ask questions.
It's not true. It's not certain. So he's presenting things as if they're certain, but it's not certain. Now check this part out.
He uses it, so she had really zero say in the matter. So he's pretty much saying, like, my own mom couldn't stop me. You're definitely not going to. And what's also really clever here is that Drake is 37 years old, and he says the N-word 37 times on this track. And I believe his reasons for doing this is he's basically saying the word for every year that he's been alive to symbolize that he was indeed born black.
I'm with you, Justin. What the hell? What the hell are we doing?
I'm gonna have to tell the truth, and I'm gonna tell it.
How do you count the amount of times that Drake said nigga in Family Matters? Do you put it in a Word document and hit Control F and then see the number of times it populates? Do you take a pen and look? No, that's not nigga. That's tonight. That's night. That's night. Okay, this is Nigeria. No, that's not nigga. Okay. Do you count them out with your finger? What are we doing? I know you're a deep diver. It's a part of the success of your channel. But you gotta see how that's gotta be a what they call that? An honorable mention at the end of the video. Hey, by the way, it's a crazy theory I got. And please, excuse my whiteness. Drake said the N-word 37 times. I wasn't gonna add it, but I had to mention that. You don't make that as a part of the. Imagine a lawyer doing this, and this is part of their case that they're trying to prove. You counted 37 times. So that means you mentally said it 37 times.
Somebody gonna have to tell the truth, and I'm gonna tell
What?
Now, I talked about, actually, I don't even know if I really talked about this. I definitely retweeted this moment when I saw this yesterday. I honestly, after I saw this, I almost tuned out to the, almost like, I had to call Curtis King. I called Curtis King. I'm like, yo, Curtis, did you know that Drake says nigga 37 times?
I kid you not. Justin called me. He said this shit at least 40. He probably said it at least 37 times. He was so disturbed. He was genuinely disturbed. Like, we would start talking about something else, and he was like, he really counted the amount of niggas he had in the song. I said, Justin, you good, bro? And mind you, Justin wasn't even calling me about this topic. We were talking about something completely different. I misspoke earlier. We were talking about something completely different. He sent me a text. Actually, no. I take that back. We were talking via text first. Got the whole thread. And then he happened to mention it like, hey, did you catch this today? I was like, no, I was on live stream. Then we got on the phone and started to talk about it. But he kept doing this. Justin was disturbed. I let him continue.
To symbolize he's been a nigga for 37 years. Like, it was crazy. Curtis will tell you. And this has got to be one of the most, I don't even know how to describe what this is. I don't know what to describe this as. Because from my point of view, this doesn't work on, no matter how you look at it. What's the Dirt described this as clever? He described it as clever. All right, so let's say What's the Dirt is actually correct. Let's imagine.
Not you saying it's your 15th nigga birthday. What is going on with you, Morton? What's going on with you? Come on, bro. Don't buy into this.
That What's the Dirt nailed this. Maybe let's say that this is his 616 moment where he's saying Kendrick is rapping from Drake's perspective. Let's say he is correct about that, the way he was with the 616 moment. Let's say that's the case. Then that would mean Drake sat down, consciously thought out the number of niggas to include in his song, landed on 37 because of his age, and said, yeah, that's deep, that's dope.
I don't know what's more embarrassing in this scenario now. When he breaks it down like this, I don't know if it's more embarrassing that What's the Dirt counted it, or if this stands true, like Justin said, that Drake thought it. That's not a win. Oh, Kendrick got Easter eggs on Euphoria? Watch this. But like, we gonna tuck it though. That's not an Easter egg.
That'll show him how.
That's a spoiled egg.
Much of a nigga I am. That'll show how black I am. Let's say that. Now, you guys know where I stand on Drake. I find that hard to believe Drake would do that. But let's say Matt's correct. That's what that would mean. It would mean that Drake is literally quantifying the number of N-words per song to prove his blackness. That's the whitest thing I've ever heard in my life. There's nothing whiter than that. If Drake is doing that, let's say that is like an entendre, a layer. That is crazy. It's not clever. It would be additional demise and another example of this song aging so poorly. That's crazy. Now, let's go the other way. Let's say Matt is straight up reaching. Let's say this is the biggest reach or example of reaching, an example of what Be Fresh, Whitney's cousin, was saying to Curtis King. Mm-hmm. Let's say this is an example.
Which, by the way, I interviewed Whitney's cousin, Be Fresh, who is an amazing artist, is someone who works as an A&R for another artist, just someone who has been a longtime friend of Kendrick's since he were like 20 and whatnot. He's a cousin of Whitney, and he cleared up a lot of that ridiculousness that actually got played out there through Family Matters, which is really interesting, because if we're really being unbiased, Mr. Dirt, What's the Dirt? I'm not saying you got to even include my video, but while in between you counting 37 niggas in a song, that might be important information to include in your 2-hour documentary about Family Matters. Unless the family's opinion just don't matter to you.
Of at-home analyzers sitting back and coming up with meanings and things for songs. Let's say this is an example of that, because no conscious person, no person no non-schizophrenic person is going to sit around and make sure they include the number of niggas in a song to prove they're black. Let's say this is the biggest reach ever. Then that means Matt is so in the weeds, so in the woods, not even in this video, but in the whole process, that he's counting the number of niggas in a song.
I'm telling you, Justin was disturbed. That's my friend, and I that's my guy. And I heard him, during this battle, we went back and forth and called each other like, man, did you hear this? What you think of this? What you think of this? Like we were even on opposing sides on things like the tailor-made freestyle. I hated it. I hated the use of Tupac's voice as an AI voice that Drake was using. I hate it. I hate the relationship Drake has, or the obsession he has with the legacy, the abuse of the legacy of Tupac. I didn't like it. He was like, I don't know, man. That's kind of a crazy war tactic. So we don't always see eye to eye on these things. Here, this.
I was disturbed.
I know you were, brother. And you guys can go watch the rest of this video. This is gonna be a lengthy reaction because there's a lot. This stuff we got to get to now. In a normal circumstance, in a normal situation, especially if we're talking about the traditional journalism as I've seen it from my outside vantage point, I've seen journalists critique each other, right? I've seen opinionated debates happen civilly where someone who is accredited, like a Justin, a real fucking journalist, by the way, an award-winning journalist, by the way, where they give a critique. Justin's been on the receiving end of those, and he says, okay, I understand where you're coming from with that, and that was a misstep on my end, or I misspoke, right? That's what human beings do when they're in this space and they have integrity and they respect the field of journalism. That's how you react when it's like, you're not being attacked. It's just that you have certain viewpoints and you're saying certain things that are questionable and worth being questioned. If that was me, if I was West the Dirt and I could only speak for Curtis King, even if it hurt, I'd be like, you know what? I can see your perspective on this, Justin. That's not what I meant. Actually, this was me trying to satisfy this segment of my audience. This was me just trying to make sure that I made the video a little bit longer. And this is a learning moment for me, right? I don't agree about this. I'm not racist. I might address all those things, but at the end of the day, I just know that this, at least in the black experience, is being done with love. He ain't calling you out no name. He ain't saying he ain't calling you stupid. He's just saying some of these takes they have no weight to them. What leads you to this kind of decision making? What leads you to counting the amount of niggas in a song? His reaction was a little bit surprising, which hence is the name of this video, The Crash Out. What's the Dirt didn't go the route that I just said right now. No. What's the Dirt jumped on Twitter and he said, time to start punching back at some of these snakes. And this dude is the biggest snake of them all. Damn, homie. He's quoting 50 Cent. In high school, you was the man, homie. What the fuck happened to you? Now, this post has since been deleted. It was posted on 9/17/24. 1.5 million people saw it. It got deleted. But I saved it before it got deleted. Let's see what the response was to the video that we just watched, which I feel like Justin kind of still boxed him with, with kitty gloves. He was just like, hey, man, tighten up. It was his reaction.
Right, so enough of this bullshit. I'm going to start clapping back at some of these people from YouTube online.
Some of these what?
Who are coming with
some of these what? I might be reaching. But this the nigga that counted how many niggas was in Family Matters. I could reach today. By the way, since he wants to count the amount of niggas that was in Family Matters, I'm going to count the amount of times he calls this black man an idiot. Fair enough?
Right, so enough of this bullshit. I'm going to start clapping back at some of these people from YouTube online.
These people
who are
crazy.
Coming with baseless, stupid takes like this guy. But I'm not putting it up on
Stupid take, that's one.
YouTube because I'd only be doing them a favor. Like, a lot of these guys don't have a lot of motion. That's like, they just don't, right? So I would be helping them if I put it up on YouTube. But what I will do...
Let's start there. I know I'm getting petty. Let's start there. What's the Dirt? This is called what I consider academics logic. I got more views than you. I'm making more money than you. I'm not saying you saying these things, but I'm saying this comes from the tree of academics who you've seemed to be a fan of, supporter of, because he mentioned you a few times as being the best one out here that's doing breakdowns. This is the academic school of logic where he sits there and talks to his name is DJ Academics, and he's talking to a real, reputable DJ out here in a DJ head and telling DJ Head he don't know shit. When you ever seen DJ Academics DJ anything? A kiddie party? Chuck E. Cheese? You ever seen him DJ anything? But he's telling them, because I make more money than you, because I got more views than you, because I make millies out here, I am more reputable of a voice to speak on the things that I do. I am above you. You know, this already tells me how disturbed and angry he was about this response from Justin. You start off talking about, I didn't want to put this on my YouTube because, I don't want to give him clout. What clout does an accredited journalist need from you? You got 300,000 something subscribers and you doing numbers, brother. You are doing numbers. But can we break something down real quick before we get into that? Can we break something down real quick? Because this disturbs me. He's not the only one that does it, but I think this is something that nobody really says when it comes to the YouTube space. My man's here has about, what is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, 25, 26. He has 26 videos on his channel. This motion that he's speaking of is partly because, and probably in large part, because of the great research he does and the great detail that he has, the speed of his edits, the quality of his edits, right? Some of the stories that he's talking about are trending at the time. But don't get it twisted. His face is not on any of these videos. But yet, of these, what is it? 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, 25, 26. Of these 26 videos, there's 23 black faces on these thumbnails.
Somebody's gonna have to tell the truth, and I'm gonna tell it.
Most of which are documenting the beefs that black men are having amongst each other. I bring this up not to call this man a racist, but to say this has been a long problem of YouTube, of white content creators speaking on black issues. That saying, stay out of black folks' business, keeps you away from confrontations like what's happening right now. He's not the only one that does it. When I was in the producer community, and I only say this not to say that these folks are doing it on purpose. I don't know them like that. But I saw this in a producer community. And it bothered me when I saw that it was a bunch of thumbnails with nigga faces, and then even going as far as putting text next to it that, to me, speaks to stereotypes that some people have in this YouTube space and just in general about black folks. They have these stereotypes that they have that exist in this space. I tell you, they gave me hell for being one of the only black content creators in the producer space. They always question your intelligence as a black content creator. Not your credentials, but your intelligence, which is why I am tallying all the times that he calls Justin Hunt an idiot. But look at this right here. This is another creator here. Ninth Wonder, loser. Now, these videos are not actually calling these people that. But once again, look at this one right here. You got Dr. Dre over here, lazy. They like to say niggas is lazy. Fail. I'm just looking at this and I'm like, this is the kind of shit that I've been seeing for years. Thief. Traitor. Now, I'm not saying once again that these folks are doing this on purpose, but what I'm saying is that when your page is full of black faces, full of black conflict, there already exists an issue that maybe you're not seeing. So now when you dip yourself too far into the weeds, we have to call it out. Once again, I'm not calling you racist, right? In this situation, I could at least call you blind. This is a problem. Your face doesn't show up not one time. Now, is his face in the video? Absolutely. But this is the shit that I be talking about. So when you talk about motion, what's the dirt? When you talk about motion, that's the motion of black faces on your page. That's the motion of black face. Don't ever get it twisted that because you cover these people, you're bigger than these people. That's academics logic.
Somebody
That's academics logic. Because you get views off of their names, you think that you're more important because you've made millions. You think that you're more important. This is not talking about what's the dirt. This is more academics. That's the problem. Let's keep it going though. I just want to make sure we get that. So you're going to sit here and tell me that he's not worth responding back to on your YouTube because, you know, that's going to give him too much clout. I got too much clout. I ain't finna give him all that. Okay.
Is fire back on Twitter. So that's what we're going to do. Now, keep in mind, this guy in particular, when I was talking about Kendrick and breaking down Kendrick's lyrics, I was a genius. I was brilliant. I was extremely nuanced. His words, right? Funny how now that I'm breaking down Drake, that has all changed, right? Now I don't understand the culture.
I don't remember in that video Justin saying the exact words of him not understanding the culture. That sounds like a little bit of projection. But let's take it at face value. Do you understand the culture? It's one thing to be a fan of hip hop. It's one thing to go deep into the weeds of your favorite rappers and their lyrics and go deep into the weeds, but you can participate in the culture, but are you in and of the culture? Can you take it off like a uniform and go to something else? Because I can't. When I worked at Quiznos, damn it, they knew I was a rapper. The way I wore my hat, the way I said my words, the way I pronounced shit. They said, you make music or something? You a rapper, huh? I couldn't take it off, right?
Now I shouldn't be speaking on certain things.
I'm always shocked when people in the comments, like the analysts, people who interact with the content that I create, the videos I put out, when they say things like, man, I used to watch you in middle school. I watched you in high school. People will tell me all the time, man, when I was in high school, I used to watch you every Saturday. I'm a doctor now.
Damn, homie. In high school, you was the man, homie. What the fuck happened to you? Anyways.
That was the widest quotable of 50 Cent. What did that have to do with anything? These people did not, I know we joking, but he had nothing to do. I quote hip hop. I can talk this shit all day long. I can quote it. I know this shit all day long. I can say what the fuck I want. I know 50 Cent. I know him. Did his taxes.
You know what I mean? It's like crazy to me. And so I can understand who the majority of the people are who tend to watch a lot of these videos. And I imagine the same is happening for Matt. And he's got a lot of support from industry people. He has.
You know what's interesting also, too? The fact that he won't say Justin's name. But Justin being the journalist that he is, and I'm saying this so that you understand the nuance when you're watching your next content creator, because you should put everybody under the fire, including myself. If you don't have enough respect to say the man's name, to tell a little bit about his story to your Twitter audience, since you're, giving him your scraps, it shows a lack of integrity in your journalistic work, in my opinion. These things seem so minor. They seem like reaching, right? They seem like boredom. I've noticed something. Culture talk is boredom to people who are guests in the culture. This stuff feels like it's just reaching and it's too much to people who are merely perusing the borders of the culture. And that's why this shit is being held up to the light.
Building relationships very quickly. But I'm not quite sure, and I'll say this, and I know for a fact that most of the people who are watching these videos are probably middle schoolers and high schoolers, just in general, because that's what it is in our space, especially.
Hey, Justin, you do realize there's a thing on YouTube called YouTube Analytics. You don't need to fucking guess at who's watching your videos. But it's kind of funny how you said you knew for a fact that all my audience is middle schoolers and high school. But
one mode of context, because I don't want to seem like I'm interrupting all his points, whatever points those are. Mind you, this is only a few days, if not a day after. I think it's 2 days after. I got to make sure. I'm not sure about that. It's a few days after he drops this video, and it seems like it's already trending to be one of his biggest videos on his channel. You would think from that vantage point that you wouldn't even have time to address the things going on here. I think I even saw an update where he said something that he was having issues with the copyright, so he still had to get things right with the video. My thing is, why did you have time for Justin? What was it that Justin said that warranted a 12-minute response like this? Did it hit too close to home? What's the dirt? I'm just merely asking questions. I want to know, Because I know when I got a video that's trending, I already expect everybody and their mama gonna say everything about me and my mama. It's just what comes with the territory. But it seems to be very interesting that you made the time for Justin in the way that you've made it. And I'm sorry, sir. I don't know you, sir. But it feels like it's exuding a lot of arrogance. All the way from the jump, talking about, this ain't even worth being on my YouTube channel and and
Hey, let's just actually look at my analytics. Let's actually check the data. As you can see here, not a huge hit with the ladies, right? Not a huge hit with the ladies. 14%. I appreciate every one of you that do watch. Most of my audience are men, right? But when we get down to the age category, ages 13 to 17 years old, 1.2%.
Okay, so the point that Justin was making, from what I understand, was that he feels like the nature of What's the Dirt's videos changed merely to speak to that younger demographic that is hyper-consuming content. Now, analytics aside, okay, because analytics tell a little bit about the story. My thing is this. When analytics can't tell you how many eyes are watching a computer screen or a phone, and they call that one view, we have to look at analytics with a grain of salt at times. So for you to go here into your percentages and look at 13 to 16 as a demographic to cut that point across, we all been on YouTube, bro. And we know there's a lot of kids using their parents' accounts. Matter of fact, I had to get my son off my YouTube account on his iPad because he was leaving comments on Russ's page, on Pharrell's page, on Baby Shark page. But he's on my account. A lot of folks use it for the YouTube Red and share it amongst their family. That's very common. So I just feel like doing this kind of research, when we know what kind of research you do for your rap videos, it makes me question the kind of information and why you're putting it out the way that you are.
So my question is Justin Hunt stupid or is he just dumb?
I'm going to go ahead and tally that up as 2. So we got 3 already on the list. Interesting.
People watching my content are in between the age of 25 and 44 for the most. 40%, 25 to 34. Middle schoolers and high schoolers aren't watching my content. So the whole reason and how you just framed your angle against me was fucking stupid.
All right.
I'll say this, and I know for a fact that
It's a 12-minute video. We 3 minutes and 12 seconds into it, by the way.
Somebody gonna have to tell the truth, and I'm gonna tell it.
most of the people who are watching these videos are probably middle schoolers and high schoolers, just in general, because that's what it is in our space, especially.
It's ignorant. It's ignorant. And it
I mean, we count niggas. I can count how many times they call a man ignorant.
is pretty disgusting, but I see what you're trying to do. I see what you're trying to do. It's not working because it's stupid, but I do see what you... I peep game.
Matt, What's the Dirt, continues to make a point that 10, 15 years from now, he wants to be the go-to guy. He wants to be the guy that has the best coverage of this battle. And probably any coverage of any battle or beef that he makes videos about.
All I do is do the very, very best job that I can. The very best job that I can. I try very, very hard to research. I put a lot of time into this. Keep in mind, we're talking about a Family Matters record that came out 4 months ago. I'm taking my time with these records. Yes, I am.
And you know what? And I give him that. I think that was part of the reason why I reached out, was because I was like, man, where's all this detail coming from? Like, what kind of research are you doing? Like, if anything, as a, I guess you could even say as an aspiring journalist, I don't want to call myself that because I respect the Justins of the world who went to school for this and they came out and understand all the different steps it requires to really call that and really own that name. But with that said, I look at the research and I'm like, man, it's fantastic research as he's looking at the details of the boat and he's talking about, you know, the Euphoria verse, or no, 616 in LA. And he's talking about like they have a line of boats called the Predator. I'm like, yo, that's some good ass research. But I start to look at this from a different lens when I hear how arrogantly he's talking to Justin. I start to think like, yes, it takes a skill set to do that research, but that doesn't give you a right to talk down to people. That doesn't give you some kind of elite status in hip hop because you got some fantastic Googling powers. Nigga, I got ChatGPT too. Like, I'm just saying, like, I could sound like this too if I wanted to really, really dive into that kind of a lane. But it's like, what are we trying to accomplish here?
And there are things that Matt just isn't in the position to properly contextualize.
Like, What's the Dirt is a really great YouTube channel to me. I think he's from Canada too, if I'm not mistaken.
He is.
So I could count this as another tally, but I feel like he doesn't even understand. I don't think he even understands. When you belittle the entire conversation about culture to being merely a biased fandom of Kendrick, to me it shows how really stupid you think that gentlemen like a Justin are. Right? I know OVOers are going to do this, but what's the dirt? You got to be above that, bro. You got a responsibility out here, man. A lot of people go to your information. A lot of people trust the deep diving that you do, and they respect the work that you do. I respect the work that you do. But I think that as you're starting to get more into an opinionated space, you got to be careful, because there are certain places that research has a ceiling, and experience is the only thing that can take you from having a 7 amount of knowledge to a 10. Let's say a 5 to a 10. And I feel like you're mixing together these videos and you're showing Justin talking about how great the work you're doing, maybe because it was a little bit more unbiased. Maybe because you didn't lean in more on your opinions. You know what I thought was interesting? Do I have this here? Where is it at? There's a tweet that he put up. He says so he's retweeting somebody who basically made the connection that he's only receiving all the criticism that he is from Justin and other people because he did a Drake breakdown. Ignoring the points that people are making about him counting niggas in songs and all of that kind of stuff. He said, in response to this person that said, What's the Dirt did this 616 LA breakdown and it went viral all throughout. It was a good breakdown with a few reaches, same as Family Matters breakdown. Now he's under attack for 3 days for the same corner of the internet. He says, easily the worst fan base, talking about the Kendrick fan base, been on both sides of the coin, receiving hate from both sides. It's easily 100 times worse with Kendrick fans. It's honestly not even close. I'm moving on from this. You got to understand why opinions will shift after you say something like this. And it could be the God honest truth of your experience. But that's not what we came here for. We didn't come here just for your experience. We came here for the research that you did, where even you would bring up ideas and you would challenge yourself. I thought that was the most brilliant part about it. You would even say, I think I'm reaching on this one, guys, but bear with me. That kind of shit is fly. But I think as you start to get in your academics air, and I don't know if he's giving you any kind of pointers, it can get problematic.
And so, like, his approach to it is super nuanced. You know what I mean? And you could tell he puts a lot of heart and passion into it. You know, and I think he does a great job.
And his earnest efforts to be objective, he states a lot of opinions as if they are fact.
You mean kind of like what you just did regarding my audience?
He didn't state it as a fact. He How can he state a fact about numbers he don't have? It's giving you an assumption based upon research. And why does it sting so much that you got to put a screenshot?
Claiming that, you know, all high school and middle schoolers watch me and that's it? You mean like that? Like speaking facts like that?
I'll say this. And I know for a fact that most of the people who are watching these videos are probably middle schoolers and high schoolers, just in general, because that's what it is in our space. Especially
Drake strategically trolls Kendrick by getting his own mother to start off the track, requesting that Drake not use the word.
Maybe in this song, you shouldn't start by saying,
It's pretty clever because his mother probably doesn't approve of him using this word either. She probably asked him many times over the years not to use it, but she ultimately couldn't do anything about it because Drake is half black. The other side of his family uses it, so she had really zero.
Drake is half black. The other side of his family uses it. I have a fundamental rebuttal to that.
Just to tell you guys ahead of time, his rebuttal sucks.
Okay, again, when I was talking about how I didn't realize middle schoolers and high schoolers were my primary audience, it still trips me out. I had no idea. I'm writing to compete with, you know.
Can I just say this? When it comes to consumption of content, adults with jobs don't have the time to hyper consume. So when you see a video doing those outrageous numbers, any platform you can think of, specifically TikTok, research will show you that the kids are the ones who have the access and they're readily available to hyper consume. That's why so many of the ads are geared towards them. They're the hyper consumers. Anytime you see any channel in any segment, I can speak very confidently about this because I was in a producer space and saw the same thing. I'd make a video that was talking about the mental health of music producers. That's a very mature conversation. Then I'd see somebody else that was like, how to make a beat in 3 seconds. And then they shit would go crazy. Why? Because kids hyper consume. They have the time. They got the phone right there. They don't got a job that's going to fire them if they don't get off the phone. So when you say this, please be as thorough in your research as you are in your videos. Kids hyper consume. That's where the assumption comes from. Don't talk to us like we stupid.
You know, Rachel Maddow.
So you guys see what he's trying to do here, right? He's trying to frame it like my content is fucking corrupting the youth or some shit. It's a slime ball snake move is what it is. It's snaky as fuck, slimy as fuck, completely wrong, but that's what he's trying to do.
He gave
I really want to know, like, I really be wanting to know sometimes when somebody hears something, how they consume it. Because you have to be a level of hypersensitivity to hear what Justin said in a very calm voice and say, he's trying to say I'm bad for the kids. He's saying I'm bad for the kids. Didn't nobody say you was bad for the kids. He's saying that the nature of your content has shifted to adjust to that younger demographic who needs the fast edits. Fam, you got a Mr. Beast style cutting of your editing. That is what kids hyper consume. We didn't just do this YouTube shoot yesterday. Kids hyper consume when you got the first 10 seconds of your video, the first 30 seconds. That's an actual metric in YouTube. The first 30 seconds of your video is always the most edited. Why? Because kids make decisions very quickly about what to consume. So as you're going crazy with the edits and doing jump cuts, you got Kendrick's face jumping out, the cutout of Drake jumping out. That appeals to younger demographics. That's why older demographics, especially in hip hop, tend to like the Drink Champs. It's a slower pace. It's just general conversation. The cuts aren't as quick. It's not as crazy editing. But when you start editing the way that you edit with the colors that you're using, that is appealing to a younger demographic. That's all it is. It's not saying that you're a terrorist to the kids. I didn't hear that one time.
probably to his mom and said clearly his that side of the family uses it. My family growing up didn't use the N-word.
I'm not gonna lie. Hey, look. No, I ain't saying the man self-report anything. I ain't gonna lie. It is giving. I'm way too famous to be doing the things you accuse me of. It is giving a little bit of that. Didn't nobody even say that. I knew you was gonna go with that Epstein angle. It's giving a little of that. That man ain't never said nothing about you being bad for the kids. I didn't hear that not one time. We're watching the video. He's watching and he's reacting to things that didn't happen. I'm way too famous to do the things that you accuse me of.
I made a whole video on my channel. I didn't say the N-word for 20 years.
Bro, I could kind of tell.
You can what?
Huh?
Justin said, I didn't use the N-word for 20 years. He says, bro, I could kind of tell. What kind of a niggaologist are you? What do you know about nigga? What do you know about the usage of it? What do you know about... Chill.
My family growing up didn't use the N-word. I made a whole video on my channel. I didn't say the N-word for 20 years.
Bro, I could kind of tell.
What the fuck are you laughing at, bro? Like, this the kind of shit I be talking about. This the kind of shit that makes me, and I hate to do this, I hate to say this because I don't want to be divisive as I talk about our allies that are out here in this culture that happen to be of different races. But you got to understand the hesitation that us as black folks come with when we come to certain content, because we got to know where you stand and we don't know until you talk too much. To me, this is an example of a video that didn't have to be made. He could have ran this off for the next 8 months and we would have never known. It would have just been one video. People would have forgot about it by the next video. But this reaction is very telling. And in this year of truth, what I've noticed is that you let somebody talk long enough, they're going to say shit. They're going to say what they really feel. And when it comes out, you're going to understand. You're going to understand. Oh, you're going to understand what's going on. It's just unfortunate to hear that and you're laughing about it like, you're laughing about it like you black. You laughing about it like you black, bro. He's here. That's cool. No, he's not calling in. He ain't calling in. We're not doing a Lupe situation. I'm gonna say the same things I was gonna say if he wasn't here. I don't like that. I don't like that, bro. I don't like that. What are we laughing about? And who's we? Who gives you I said this in a tweet. Let's go to the tweet. I said, well, first of all, I retweeted it. Let me make sure it's on screen. I retweeted it. And I said, somebody put the video up and they said, well, what does this mean? And I just kind of gave the face. What's the dirt double downs on it? He says, the dude is like Carlton from Fresh Prince. You're trying to frame me as as being racist? Come the fuck on now. Huh? Carlton? What's the dirt? Here's some nuance that you may not understand. When you say that, when black folks say that amongst each other, when two black men say that, those might be fighting words. That is meant as an insult when someone says that. What is Carlton to a lot of people? Yes, we know that he is a black man. We saw the episode where he was at the fraternity and he established that his blackness and his black experience is not invalid. We saw that episode. But for some of us, it goes deeper than just an episode of Fresh Prince. In this situation, he's telling the person, this dude is like Carlton from Fresh Prince. It seems like whoever you're keying to in the video when you're reacting and saying, I can tell, seems to be the same audience that you're talking to there. Who is that audience? Is my question. So I asked him, I said, what gives you so much comfort to speak on black people and culture this way? What are your credentials to properly measure a man's blackness? Race aside, you're speaking to an accomplished journalist who simply questioned the intent in your YouTube coverage. Why crash out? Why crash out?
Somebody gonna
Why?
have to tell the truth, and I'm gonna tell it.
This whole thing could have got avoided if you just simply said, you know what? I spoke on something I had no business speaking on. I'm still new to this space. I have a lot to learn. It don't make you weak, bro. That shit don't make you weak to just say, I was wrong. I've done it. Matter of fact, one of my videos that went to 1 million views was me saying that I pirated a program I shouldn't have. I got clowned by the internet. But guess what? Years and years later, my channel was bigger than it's ever been. But you don't say that in the midst of a conversation like this and not expect that your cultural commentary is going to be met with aggression. That's what's happening right now. I think your name is Matt, right? Matt, this is what's happening right now. You're being met with aggression because you're in a conversation. It's like when you go to a basketball court and you see a bunch of shirtless dudes playing basketball and they playing like prison rules. You don't have the right to jump in that game and say, no. Can we just not foul? Can we not play like this? No. When you involve yourself in the culture commentary and you do a great job of researching, you must be prepared that there are a certain type of conversations that are going to happen, things that are related to people's trauma. For those of you that's, it's not that deep. It's not that. No, it is that deep. It is that deep. It is that deep. Because you got things that I don't have any context for that I probably like, it's not that deep. No, it is that deep for you because it's attached to your trauma. So when this situation happens, you can't speak like that. You know what's funny about that Carlton statement? Because I didn't like that. Because I'm like, well, I got to hear talent here. What's the dirt? You called Justin an idiot 7 times, 6 minutes into this video. I know you was counting niggas in Family Matters. I was counting how many times you called him an idiot, right? 7 times into this video, you called him an idiot. Ignorant. When you imply that somebody is like Carlton, you're saying that they're speaking like a white man. They're speaking as some people would say proper. They're speaking with a whole lot of language. Well, that's also meaning that that person is intelligent. Because from what I understand, what did he go to? Was it Stanford? What college did Carlton go to? Carlton was brilliant. He was corny, but he was brilliant. So is he stupid or is he ignorant? I mean, is he stupid or is he intelligent? And is he less black because of how intelligent he is? Is he less black because of the way that he's expressing himself? Let me tell you something about cultural nuance. What's the dirt? You got to be careful with those black folks that you think are just nerds. You got to be careful. A lot of them black folks that you consider nerds or not black enough or fitting inside your box of blackness. A lot of them got gangsters that's protecting them. A lot of them folks are the product of people who made sure they kept their ass inside and never had to deal with bullshit on the outside. A lot of them people may sound like cornballs to you, may sound cheesy to you, but a lot of them people got people that'll fuck you up. Careful talking about conversations like this. There are people who will go to bat for them because they put their lives on the line to make sure that that articulate black man could stand on his own and do what he's doing. Go to college with no issues. And matter of fact, that's the ones that get the calls when folks start coming out here and using their platforms to bully them. Don't like that, bro. I don't like that. Now, to be fair, What's the Dirt responded and he said, I'm not speaking on his blackness, bro. That's not even what that means at all. So then why didn't you call him Screech? If it's not about blackness, What's the Dirt, why didn't you call him Screech? Why Carlton? Carlton is no less of a black man than Will. Oh, educate me more. They just grew up differently. You don't say. I watch the same show. You guys are trying to twist this into something that it fucking isn't. Why are you cussing? What you cussing about? Everybody has approached you very respectfully. This entire video, when you go back through it, very respectful. You want to call me a snake? Call me a fucking snake. Call me everything you want. I've been respectful, and I'm going to keep it respectful because there's no reason. And I told you, I said, you know what, brother? There lies the problem. You're making an assumption about the company man's upbringing because he doesn't fit inside your expectations of blackness. Nobody. I could have changed the nobody because maybe some people are here twisting your words. I'm not twisting your words, but your words and actions are being challenged. That's the responsibility of culture commentary.
Somebody gonna have to tell the truth, and I'm gonna tell it.
Now, before these things get interpreted as subs, I'm gonna make sure you understand this was an extension of our conversation. I just want to stop talking. I just want to stop talking to you because I feel like you were too hot and bothered by everything going on. And I understand what it's like to be on the receiving end of everybody coming at you, right? Our interaction has had OVOers going crazy on my timeline. I've had to mute all kind of conversations. I don't want to speak to these niggas. I never even said Drake's name in that. And they came out of the woodworks. Hit dogs holler. The next thing I said is, if questions meant to gain an understanding of your stance make you extremely defensive, what does that say about your stance? Now, this wasn't about What's the Dirt, but it's very interesting that gatekeeping feels like division to house guests. This is why we gatekeep. We gatekeep to make sure, in the same way that anybody of any race, they do research on whoever they invite into their household. Let me check you out. Hey, before you come in the household, we got a set of rules. Any household does that. I'll explain this later, but I said this is bigger than Kendrick versus Drake. That battle was the catalyst for what's about to happen next. This is about evicting the squatters out of hip-hop culture, black, white, etc. And I think that we need to make sure this is not, to me, it's an insult to the intelligence of people in this space that you know better. What's the Dirt? You're an intelligent human being. I think you are. It's an insult to think this is all about a fandom for Kendrick, some kind of messiah complex. It's an insult to the intelligence of people who don't all think in one way. To me, that's only encouraging the accusations of you thinking that the black experience is a monolith. Some of us have an opinion that we can develop just based upon the actions that we see in front of us. And it has nothing to do with you doing I wasn't even going to watch the Family Matters cover because why? I don't like the song. Well, good for that. But I just didn't like the way that the interaction happened with my guy, man. But let's let you cook because I haven't finished tallying the amount of times you called this man stupid.
But it's not a word that every black family uses. It's not a word that's accepted in the house.
So you see what he's trying to do to me there, right? He's trying to frame it like I believe every black person uses the N-word and every black family uses it. Now, I didn't think I need to put this clip in the fucking video, but this guy obviously doesn't know what he's talking about when it comes to this, so...
I'm going to add that one as another ignorance. He doesn't know what he's talking about. Continue.
Let's look at why I would say that about Drake's family.
And I'm also like, I come from a family in Memphis, Tennessee, where it's like, it's just something we say to each other, you know, right. And it's like...
I personally don't believe this guy's really that intelligent. I don't. To me, it's clear that he took the best Twitter talking points and regurgitate it into a video. There's also the fact that the last time he made a video about me, it did really well for him. So I see the play. But what he's trying to set up here and the shit he's trying to angle against me is fucking disgusting. It's snaky as fuck. It's disingenuous as fuck. And I don't fucking appreciate it.
This is a great example of getting lost in your own hubris.
He said this is a great example of me being lost because he assumed that I assumed that all black families use the M-word.
You forgot one word. I don't even know what hubris is. I'm gonna be honest with you. That's what that journalism gets you. You're not even misinterpreting what you're about to go on a rant about. He said you got lost in your own hubris. Hubris is excessive pride or self-confidence.
Somebody gonna have to tell the truth, and I'm gonna tell it.
You see that there? That got nothing to do. That has nothing to do with your interpretation of a black experience. But it seems like you were so angry in this moment, and maybe that's why you deleted it. You were so angry that you didn't even want to listen to what the man had to say. You were too busy calling him an idiot. 9 times. In a 7-minute video already. What are we doing? I know he commenting up there. I'll get to that when I get to that. I'm not finished.
And he's trying to peg that on me and put that on me. That is bullshit. That is fucking bullshit. Fuck this guy.
But he's defining this as clever. And again, I'm still shocked every day that middle schoolers and high schoolers are the ones who are most impacted, or at least tell me on a regular basis, by the work.
So you see what I'm saying? He uses this middle school, high school thing as like the basis of his fucking argument, which is completely idiotic.
We got 10.
Because we just looked at the analytics. So his whole framework there is fucking stupid. Stupid.
He gives
goddamn. Go another one.
Probably for what his mom might think. He says definitely his family uses that word.
I said probably, meaning I don't know for sure that his mom ever asked him not to use it. I don't know that. Maybe she could have asked him not to use it. Maybe she asked him many times not to use it. Or maybe she just let him be. I don't fucking know. That's what the probably means there. That is what the probably means. But like when you try to take words like that and reposition and flip it to contort whatever
Damn, he about to do it again. You mean like hubris? You mean like hubris? You mean like how you... Huh? Don't be so angry that you don't realize you're doing the same thing you about to accuse this man of. What you about to say?
Stupid ass narrative you have. This is what you get. This is what you get.
So he's presenting things as if they're certain, but it's not certain.
How the fuck am I presenting things as certain when I preface with the word probably, maybe? You do know what those words mean, right?
Can we add that? Questioning if he knows what the word probably is. I'm gonna go ahead and add that.
Probably and maybe? It means not for sure.
And what's also really clever here is that
God
Drake is 37
damn.
years old, and he says the N-word 37 times on this track. And I believe his reasons for doing this is he's basically saying the word for every year that he's been alive to symbolize that he was indeed born black.
Now, I don't even know if I really talked about this. I definitely retweeted this moment when I saw this yesterday. I honestly, after I saw this, I almost tuned out
I reached for the fucking stars with Kendrick Lamar. Came with theories that like he was talking about the Kill Bill movie when that probably might not be the case. Like,
so did you do us a favor by doing that? Or were you doing your job, bro? I think trying to belittle this to being we don't like your commentary because it's about Kendrick is a problem. If you sat there and counted the amount of times Kendrick said nigga in a song and brought that up, we wouldn't think those were cool points. I don't think anybody on this end of things, especially not in this environment, let's not even say they're Kendrick fans. I can't speak for every Kendrick fan. I think all fans that are in different spaces are fanatics. That's the whole tail end of fanatic is, or the shortening of fanatic is fan. Fanatics are like that. There's no worse fan base than the other. There's just whatever one is attacking you more aggressively today. Fanatics are like that. Have you ever seen the Monsters, the Gagas? Have you ever seen the Beehive? You know what I'm saying? Like, have you ever seen Nicki Minaj's? Like, that's the way that fanatics are. Have you ever seen the Juggalos? Don't never want to fuck with them folks. They'll beat your ass. That is fanatics. we would have had the same criticism of like, whoa, 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 whoa. You got too much dip on your chip there. You're talking about things that go beyond just the lyrics. Now we talking about some stuff that makes us feel culturally uncomfortable because of who's delivering the message.
The most insane theories possible, like reaching for the fucking moon. And knowing myself that Drake does and is good at taking dates and numbers and flipping them and using it in his music, why can't this pertain to Drake? Why can't this pertain to Drake when he uses the word heavily throughout the track? He uses it heavily because it is a rebuttal to Kendrick asking him not to use it. So when I noticed he used it that many times, I'm like, holy shit, he's really turning up on this song with his use of the N-word. Like, what the fuck's going on here? I did a quick Control F, and it came up 30 seconds.
Oh, you did Control F. Oh, shit. That was a joke. Oh, shit. Oh, shit. Microsoft Word, I'm mad at you too. Why the hell you put it? Why the hell you put that Control F in there? I'm mad at you too. I was just joking when I said that. This motherfucker really put a Control F. I'm being petty. Admittedly being petty. You really sat there. So maybe you didn't. Okay, I'm glad you didn't sit there and count it and have to say it mentally, because I don't know how you keep count, but I gotta say the word every time I do it. But he typed it. Look, Moni, you said he typed it in. Maybe I don't know. Maybe he copied and pasted it from Genius and put it into the Control. I don't know what the process is. We're adults here. It's all right. He just typed it in. He didn't, you know what I'm saying? He doing research. Research requires that.
7 times. So that's pretty interesting. Now, am I saying it's a reach? It could be. But to like completely destroy me on it when I had my takes on 616 and Euphoria were fucking 100 times more insane.
See, this is where cultural nuance matters, Matt. You can't tell other people what's insane or what is worse for them. For some OVO fans, they believe that when Drake said you rapping like you're trying to free the slaves, they thought that that was just trolling. They thought that that wasn't something that showed a blind spot for Drake's black experience. They didn't see that as being problematic. No. They saw that as like, oh, Drake really getting them now, you fake protester, you fake revolutionary. They didn't understand that you say certain things that is painful to certain people. Once again, it is aligned with their trauma, especially people who are doing research upon their ancestors, research upon who they are, and figuring out what their people had to go through. You don't play around with that, especially not as a Canadian talking to an American. We've heard Drake say things like, had me whipped in whips and chains like American slaves. Well, that's weird that you put American on it. That's weird. Slaves existed everywhere. That's weird. But this is the kind of thing that we look at and it's like, no, you can't tell somebody else what's worse. That's pretty damn bad. And the thing is, you didn't even have to add it. Nobody said break down the amount of times he said nigga in that song, but because of the way that God hath created you and put the packaging around you, because of who's delivering it and from where you're from, there's a lot of American black experiences that look at that and say, are you looking at this whole thing like we're in a glass and you're just studying? Ooh, oh, these folks really hate this, huh? That's what feels problematic. I don't know you like that, bro. I don't. That's why I can't make any assumptions upon your character. All I can do is see what I see here and try to understand where is this coming from. All I can say is that a lot of this is very tone deaf, bro. It's very tone deaf. I didn't come here to be disrespectful, but I did come here to call it like my brain sees it. If I'm wrong, I apologize. But I don't feel like I'm wrong in this.
Just proves that this is not a me thing. This is a Drake thing. This is a Drake thing. They don't want to hear anything about Drake. Drake is incapable of doing this. Only your highness.
I'm sorry, bro. This is not about... Dog, there is an announcement. There is an announcement for the Super Bowl. There's a lot of things that... Bro, the presidential situation is getting crazy. This nigga Diddy had 1,000 bottles of baby oil in AR-15s. I don't believe that the folks that are criticizing you on these points is because of their blinding fandom of Kendrick Lamar or their blinding hate of Drake. For somebody who doesn't care for Drake's music, doesn't care for the Drake display of battling that happened over this last few months, I wasn't going to watch your video. But your reaction to Justin made me watch that video. Watch the whole thing. And I'm just, I understand what's happening, right? There's a difference between a DJ Academics and an Elliot Wilson. Elliot Wilson's figuring it out. Salute to the OG. But there's old school journalism that really was like editorial, where you kind of gave your opinion, but you still were respectful that you're going to meet these people in real life one day. But I think YouTube has kind of like made this a little bit more risque, in that folks are offering not only their opinions, but they're like saying something like Academics. That is the standard for a lot of people. Suck my dick. I ain't there. Man, fuck you. Y'all ain't shit. I'm bigger than the artist. But my thing is, how could you be bigger than the people that you're covering? So I think what's happening is that individuals like yourself are seeing this is important for me, so I can have my feet solidified in this space. I'm doing the same thing right now, where I have to give my opinion. I get to give my opinion, and because of that, people know where I stand on things. People don't want to watch the news for that. The news gives you, these are the facts. This is happening. Some of them are a little bit, some of them got a little propaganda for sure. But I'm saying that's what they come to us for. But when you lean in on things that you don't have any experience in, I don't know your experience being a black male in America, but when you lean in on things that you don't have experience in, this is where you're getting challenged on it.
Kendrick Lamar, Jesus himself, is able to do these types of things. That's what these guys think.
Let's imagine that What's the Dirt nailed this. Maybe let's say that this is his 616 moment where he's saying Kendrick is rapping from Drake's perspective. Let's say he is correct about that, the way he was with the 616 moment. Let's say that's the case. Then that would mean Drake sat down.
Like, it's funny how he gives such credence to my theory on 616, but completely shits on something as minuscule as this too, right? Like, it wasn't like...
Did he shit on it? Are we in a hypersensitive generation where criticism is shitting on you? I'll let him continue that point.
It's supposed to be a wow moment for me. It completely shit.
Sat down.
Like, it's funny how he gives such credence to my theory on 616, but completely shits on something as minuscule as this too, right? Like, it wasn't like supposed to be a wow moment for me. It could very well be a reach, but it is something worth noting when it, part of Kendrick's angle and the reason why Drake uses the N-word so heavily is to combat what Kendrick said, asking him not to use it.
Consciously thought out the number of niggas to include in his song. Landed on 37 because of his age.
All right, you guys seen enough. You see what he's trying to do to me, right? And the narratives he's trying to paint.
When you say what he's trying to do to me and you tell it to an audience that obviously you have already told is bigger than his audience, you have to understand how this appears to be dog whistling. I don't know your intent, but you have to understand that some people are going to look at that as dog whistling. You just established you have a bigger platform. You just established that you don't want to give this guy any kind of time or run on your channel because you got bigger things to do. And I understand you got a channel right now that's going crazy. But fam, this just wasn't the way to go. Not with somebody who had, like, imagine if he would have did this academic style on you. You'd be ready to fight. But because he chose to do it in a respectable way, you become the aggressor? I don't like that. I'm not, and my thing is, like, I don't look at YouTube as you're more valuable than me because you run up millions of views. I don't view life like that. That's not how it works. The people out here that have the actual power to shift things are the people who got their feet out here on the pavement. The people who are actually out here doing the work and not just reporting these videos from their rooms. That's why I had to step back outside. I took a long hiatus from being out here in the industry and I built up my YouTube channel. But guess what? I had to take my ass back outside. I had to go back out there and make sure that I'm actually shaking their hands and talking to these people so I could gain more perspective. But this is the problem, man. Just because you're getting more views does not give you the right to talk to an experienced journalist like this. You have every right to defend yourself. Let me say that. You got every right to defend yourself. It is I'm assuming it's a very stressful environment to be in, to be a white male. I don't know your background, but what appears to be, I could be wrong, a white male from Canada who is talking about black culture, hip hop culture. Because the moment you started inserting yourself into the genealogy of Dennis, once you started inserting yourself into the amount of niggas that was said in Family Matters, you get into black folk business, damn. Because you can't even say the word that you're covering. That means that there's something there that's off limits. But when you dig into that, now we're opening up a whole can of worms. And that's why we're here.
Like, he focused on that 37 years old thing because that trended on Twitter. That's how I know he lacks intelligence. Because he's focusing on one of the most minuscule, smallest aspects of the video, but because that did well on Twitter, he put that in his video. But it's because...
Or could it be that that was the thing he found the most offensive? Is it okay for him to be offended, but he can't be offended, but you can be offended to make this video? It's just human decency at this point. It's not even about race. It's just about human decency. You know what? Could I see how somebody could interpret that as me overstepping my boundaries? Could I see that as somebody looking at that and saying, that makes me uncomfortable?
Because he doesn't know what he's doing, though, right? This guy's a fucking snake. I'm telling you, fuck this guy. Well.
Even after that video, which I don't know if I would have had, I don't know if I would have had the maturity to react the way that my guy Justin did. Oh yeah, by the way, let's tally it up. 1, 5, 10, 15. You called this man an idiot 15 times in this video. You called him ignorant or an idiot 14 times, and then one time you just said that he don't know the difference between probably. But 15 times you pointed out this man's lack of intelligence, while simultaneously saying because he's talking a certain way, which I interpret as just an intelligent black man, you're also saying that he's Carlton. Can we make that make sense? Justin, being the ultimate professional that he is, he could have crashed out and everybody would have jumped on Twitter with him. He said to you, you got to have a thick skin when you put ideas into the world. 2 things I'll say. I respect his passion. I respect the passion Matt has for his work. 2, his Kid Rock video is awesome. That's the one you crash on, bro? That's another reason why I don't want to have the conversation right now. I don't, because the thing about it is, as you're covering the culture, as you're covering a Kendrick and you're talking about the difference in the shades of his kids and your theories around why he may not want to show his kids because one is more lighter complected, when you're saying things like this, when you're calling him a milkman, when you're putting up Uncle Ruckus as one of the B-roll clips, he doesn't get an opportunity to stop you and say, hey, can I explain why I did that? Can I explain my point of view? No. That's the benefit of having a YouTube channel. Oh, you didn't see that. That's because we're not done yet. Now, I just want to draw attention here because, like I said, I don't know who, if anybody, man. It could be just you solo dolo. I salute you, bro, because doing this is not easy. YouTube is not easy. As just a comrade in the YouTube space, I understand this is not easy. I salute you in what you're doing, bro. It's a lot of work. This editing shit put bags under my eyes for sure. But I'm looking and I'm hoping that it's just the fact that academics mention you, why he's 2 of your pinned tweets or pinned Instagram posts here. But it seems like you're falling in line with the same problematic things that this black man that we've been critical of is doing within this culture. This is where people are calling it out, not simply because you're a Drake or Kendrick fan. That's going to die at some point. This problem is still going to exist, but that's why it's being called out. I hope this serves as education. What's the problem with academics? Well, just this week, as LA Times reported that Compton business owners say they lost thousands of dollars when Kendrick Lamar's shot the Not Like Us video in his hometown. Academics reported it, couldn't wait to report it. And the issue wasn't that he reported it. He's a news outlet. The issue was that you chose to spin it as a blemish upon Kendrick's reputation. You couldn't wait to put that up there. Well, in the midst of him explaining that he was just copying and pasting from an article, here's what he had to say to one of the business owners who got misquoted in what they said, misquoted in the LA Times, and they went to the comments and said, academics has got this story completely wrong. Here's what he said to this black-owned business.
Lamar updates. So they posted a comment supposedly from the place that's quoted in the article, saying this entire post is misquoted.
The name of the restaurant is Alma's Soul Food in Compton.
And pushing a narrative that we don't represent. People, please don't believe everything you read. Words have been twisted and that's not right. The city should have made better decisions with notification on tax-paying business owners. We in no way, shape, or form have any negative commentary for Kendrick. This was a city issue and academics. You better be careful about misquoting people and twisting words. We never spoke to you. I'm a food for the soul. Suck a cock. I hope.
Journalism. You're telling an established business, instead of talking to them, you feel comfortable enough to tell them to suck a dick. That's the person, what's the dirt, that we are now seeing glimpses in your reaction that felt like your version, in my opinion, of a DJ Academic's reaction to somebody who called him out by his name. But you didn't even get called out by your name. You got soft punched. You got kitty boxed with your viewpoints. He's telling this black-owned business worse than that.
Y'all go out of business. Like, it's only so much y'all could keep coming at me. Like, I didn't say I spoke to you bum ass niggas at that trash ass soul food restaurant.
Journalism.
I wouldn't come there to feed my dogs. Pluto couldn't take a shit on y'all floor. Please. Don't ever think that I would be talking to you fucking bum ass niggas.
Well, journalism requires you to talk to all parties.
Somebody gonna have to tell the truth, and I'm gonna tell it.
So that you can dig into the stories and figure out what the truth is. This is where adding, and this is still about what's the dirt. He didn't say these things, but this is what I'm saying. This is the example of journalism in this generation, and that's a fucking problem. There's a difference between these opinionated YouTube videos and actual journalism. Journalism requires you to put your biases aside, to go develop opinions based upon, not even opinions, to go develop facts based upon asking questions and digging deeper. And once you get both sides of it, you say, this is what I conclude based upon the information that I have. This is what's happening and what I felt happening with the Family Matters video that you did. What's the dirt? You weren't nearly as problematic as academics, but when you start to bring your opinions into the reason why Drake's family probably said nigga on his dad's side, when you wait, Michael, Michelle, you said Ack's not a journalist. He said he's the best journalist ever. That's what he told DJ Head. He's the best one we've ever seen. That's what he told DJ Head, an actual DJ.
I just want to make it clear. The LA Times talked to y'all.
I'm done on that one. I'm just giving you the example of what's the problem here. You know, I said some things here, and I actually want to go to speed a little bit more in this video right here. Shout out to Deleted. Deleted had this amazing video here that I think gives a really unique perspective. What's the dirt? I don't agree with the title. I don't think this is the end of your career. I think this is a learning moment. We all have them. I hope that you use this as an opportunity to see, hey, you know what? With great power comes responsibility. And the things that you used to do, the ways that you used to react, you can't do that because it could be problematic to the relationships that you got going on. I know you're blowing up. I know you're building up. And it's because you've done your shit, bro. You've done your shit. You just made a very big mistake here. I'm going to let Deleted get into some of the things that he saw that were problematic with that Family Matters video. Just to show you this is not about Kendrick versus Drake. At some point, I know academics is not, at some point, please, we got to take accountability. I beg of this next generation, take accountability. I'm older. I'm in 4 months, I'm going to be 40, right? So I've been there. But please take some accountability for some of the shit that you're saying. I know some of this is internet culture, but it's problematic to the black culture you're talking about.
So what went wrong on his last video about Drake's song Family Matters? It seems to me that instead of focusing on everyone else's take and masking it with his own opinions and theories, he would completely do an entire video based on his own perception for the first time, instead of using what was already being said online like he would do in the previous videos. So most of the new video was opinions presented as facts, and that can come off disingenuous. Doing this was very revealing on how out of touch he truly is with the culture and how stereotypes and in denial racism still very much exists. Now, before I break down some of his controversial takes, I do want to say this isn't about Kendrick versus Drake. This is about a well-meaning white person who's really into hip-hop that tried to join the discussion but accidentally said some things that was racially insensitive and also stated far-reach theories with stereotypical logic. This show,
I like that term, racially insensitive, because it allows you to say it's not a racist. I don't believe the guy's a racist. I don't think somebody who is racist puts that many black faces in their room in frames, first of all. Just pure human. I don't think he's racist. I think that's extreme. But I do think that you're saying some things that may make people feel like you're being insensitive about the people and the culture you're speaking about. To react in an angry way about that, that's when we start to see things that we can interpret as, oh, that reminds me of somebody that's racist. Not saying it's you. You gotta be careful. I don't think the man's racist at all. I think he loves the experience that he's had with this culture. But there's blinders. The same way I got blinders for Canadian culture. I don't know what that looks like. I admit it, and I know I got blinders, so I don't speak on it.
He didn't really understand the culture as well as he thought he did. And it also showed the disconnect that most, not all, but most white people still have when it comes to Black Americans and our culture, and is why they shouldn't speak so loudly on topics that could be taken out of context. One of the first things that come to mind is something that took me back in disbelief when he called Kendrick a milkman and Uncle Ruckus.
Now, Tiger in particular is a well-documented milkman who, like Kendrick, has a past of infidelity. I mean, Kendrick might just be a milkman, right? A closeted milkman.
And after
Where does the comfortability come from?
Has a past of infidelity. I mean, Kendrick might just be a milkman, right? A closeted milkman.
and after that it's over. You wake up and you don't even know what you done.
Uncle Ruckus? Uncle Ruckus? Uncle Ruckus? Yikes.
I missed the show. I wish they'd bring it back.
What kind of prejudice shit is that to call someone a derogatory name just because he dates another race? And to call him an Uncle Ruckus, which doesn't make sense at all. And Uncle Ruckus doesn't represent Black people who are conscious and dates different ethnicities. Uncle Ruckus represents...
What is a milkman? I've never heard the term my damn self. Been on this earth 39 years. I've never heard what a milkman is. Milkman slang. What is milkman? A person that handles, pleases the wifey girlfriend when the husband or boyfriend is away. The baby doesn't look anything like you. Better ask the wife about the milkman. I don't know if that's the one. A Black man who prefers dating white women. That's a milkman.
Somebody gonna have to tell the truth, and I'm gonna tell it.
Never in my Black experience in Southern California have I ever heard anybody call another man a milkman. I've heard Oreo. Heard that many a times. You know what I'm saying? Like I heard a bunch. I ain't never in my life heard milkman. What the fuck is a milkman? Who came up with that? I'm sorry. If I'm just using my own bias, I can't think of no Black man that said, this brother here is a milkman. What the fuck? I don't know no Black man. That's right. Oh, I see you, my boy. You a regular old milkman, ain't you? I can't even make that shit sound cool. Milkman. That's what we talking about.
brown nosers and the tokens who sides with ignorant comments from white propaganda, and what you're doing right now, feeding the tokens and the Uncle Toms. You see, I wouldn't have to break this down to a Black person. They know this without having to have the context. Watch an episode and we laugh because we know what they're talking about and who they're making fun of with that Uncle Ruckus character. This is what we mean when white people misinterpret a lot of our culture. And why does Dirt think Kendrick is racist? When did Kendrick ever say he wasn't attracted to other ethnicities? So many questions. Just because Kendrick is the voice of the people and is a conscious rapper, a proud Black man, doesn't mean he's against other races. Showing Black pride seems to be intimidating to people because they always think it's a way of shunning out others when we show self-love, and that isn't the case. We as Black people have learned to overcome disadvantages and discrimination by self-loving ourselves loud and proud with people like—
And I want to make sure I'm not ignoring the super chats. I want to make sure that I keep this flow of thought. I want to thank every single one of you after. I greatly appreciate everybody. I'm truly not doing this for the super chats. I would have did this stream today for absolutely free because of the educational opportunity that is. Also, too, I'm hashing out my own thoughts and realizing like where maybe I was a little bit more reactive in my mind than I feel today, right? I would have did this for free. This ain't about no clout. This ain't about none of that. Why is his name in the title? Because it's him that's in the story. Why is he on the thumbnail? Because it's him that's in the story. The same way Justin is. But my face is in it as well because these are the thoughts that I have. So thank you for the super chat. God bless you. I appreciate you. But I promise you, I'm not doing it for that. I do this for free.
Like James Brown and the Black Panther Party.
We don't hate nobody because of their color. We hate oppression.
It's deep rooted in our grandparents who were young when that James Brown song came out and when the Black Panthers were thriving. Most of our grandparents that lived then are still alive today. It's instilled into us. Just like the N-word with the hard R. Black people changed the entire meaning to it and successfully changed it by saying nigga instead. And that's one thing that white people seem to not understand. Kendrick never claimed to be against dating outside his race. That's Drake's confusing the people and changing the narrative. One of the villains states because Drake's angle was to paint Kendrick as a colorist and it had effect to an extent. And trying to say he is no different because his woman is mixed and his son is lighter like his mom. So let's talk about Whitney real quick. Black comes in all shades. It doesn't matter if you're mixed with black, you're still black. Your ass still checking that African-American box on a job application. When you're pulled over, they're telling their buddies they pulled over a black man or woman, no matter how mixed or light-skinned you are. If you look anything black with black ancestry and black lineage, you're black. And Whitney being from the hood and inner city and biracial, she's black. Drake's blackness being questioned by us isn't for white people to question at all. Don't get it twisted. I think I need to say that one more time. Drake's blackness being questioned by us is not for white people to question at all. Drake.
That's not even a conversation that involves white folks. It should not involve white folks. When that conversation comes up, that's a conversation. That's a community conversation of, is the guest that we allowed into this imaginary home, does he have the best interest for our people that he is working with, that he is making money off of, that he's collaborating with, that he is asking for their cultural currency in? Have we made an unwise step in allowing this person to be welcomed in? When I did a story about Post Malone, I had the same conversation about, it was really interesting to me that Post Malone went into this let's just call this imaginary house called mainstream rap, mainstream hip hop. It's not hip hop that we know. Mainstream hip hop. Got invited, right? Had a song called Iverson, right? Had a song that went off, right? A song that our folks co-signed. Brought him welcome into the house, man. You look like you might be a white Mike. Well, you all right by me. Come on in. Come make yourself a plate. And I remember a brilliant analogy one of my people made inside the chat. They said it was like he came in the house, ate a plate. This shit kind of good. I never had this. What this called right here? This collard. Okay, that's good. That's good. Played video games, right? Really commune with the culture. He saw a roach go by and he was like, "Oh, that's crazy, man." Hey, don't worry about that, bro. They'll never hurt nobody. And then the moment that he got a call that there was a greater opportunity outside, he walked outside the house. And all of a sudden, the way he was walking and talking in there, trying to be like everybody else, he changed. Matter of fact, as he walked over the welcome mat in this imaginary video, he takes a shit on the welcome mat. And the first person he sees outside, let's say they're white, he says, "They got roaches in there. Oh man, I can't wait to tell you the dirty laundry in there." Post Malone did that when he made quotes about if I wanted to make any kind of meaningful music, it wouldn't be in hip hop. It doesn't allow you to do these things. I'm not giving the exact quote, but this is what I'm talking about. He's not the first one to do it. So this is the conversation that's being had of like, man, we have to really be selective of the people that we allow into our households, into our conversations, into our minds, into our playlists, into our whatever, into our experiences. But we have to have that conversation amongst ourselves. It got nothing to do with anybody else. It's the same way you have conversations in your house, no matter what culture you are, about who should and should not be coming into the household.
He is black, but he wasn't raised black. His dad wasn't in his life. He's seen his dad a few times, but they didn't have an established relationship.
This is my dad, and him and my uncle worked with Al Green, and he taught me everything. So thank you, Dad. I don't get to see you that often, but my love is always with you.
Drake himself would often rap and vent about this. He was raised in Canada by a Jewish mother and grandmother and uncle, and went to an all-Jewish school.
First of all, I live in an all-Jewish area, so where's that? Forest Hill. Okay. I went to a predominantly Jewish school growing up. I definitely had a bar mitzvah in an Italian restaurant, mind you.
My lord.
Yeah.
A nice Italian restaurant?
A very nice Italian restaurant. The song of the night was Backstreet Boys, I Want It That Way.
The persona Drake pretends to be and how he treats his other black peers as a community is why his blackness is even in question to begin with. The fake accents, the hood hopping, the shady deals, the cease and desist letters, the way he still styles and ride waves and does shady industry backstabbing shit. It's very parallel to what whites would do to black people back.
Okay, so someone says something. I want to address it real quick because I'm kind of like eyeballing a little bit of the comments. Compromet, you said that's one unfortunate outcome of this beef. It's an in-group conversation available to the whole world. I'm with you. But you know what I'm seeing? As I'm watching people going back and forth on Twitter, I got arguments happening all day long. You know what I'm reminded of? Right? And I was thinking about this before Kendrick said it in the song, but it was something along the lines of, when I walk you down, sometimes like a show of love has to happen through violence. I think we're just at a point right now as human beings where conflict is the way that we're going to make it to resolution. Physical conflict is the way that we're going to make it to resolution because people are too wrapped up on their opinions. They're too wrapped up on their biases. They're too blinded by this shit. I think it has to happen through violence. And I'm not trying to incite violence. I'm just saying sometimes you got to run a friendly fade. And that's the way that some people, some coaches, some folks, sometimes that's the only way to get to the other side. Because we're not listening to each other right now. I never forget, Malcolm X said, if you were trying to relay messages to someone who spoke Spanish, you wouldn't talk English. So if somebody has a language of violence, they don't hear you trying to speak peace to them. They don't even understand that. They only understand violence. And I'm not saying that it has to always be a physical back and forth. What I'm saying is that we're in a time where there's a lot of conflict and a lot of confusion. And unfortunately, saying it nicely, people still get hypersensitive and think that you're calling them out to be something that they didn't even say. Didn't even say it. Enough times for you to call this man an idiot 15 times. The man softly went through his points, but that's the point we're in. So, somebody told me he's live. Shout out to him. That's the freedom you have with your platform. But wrong is wrong. I think I've been really responsible with my platform today. I'm listening to these viewpoints. I don't agree with everything that I'm hearing in the deleted, but a lot of the stuff I am agreeing with because I don't know that person. I don't know Matt. I don't know what's the dirt personally, right? But I understand because I'm always is deleted in here, man. Shout out to deleted. Amazing video, fam. Here's my thing. I'm mature enough to this level of life where I can say I may not agree with that initial point, but I can at least bring myself to say, I know why you would think that though. I know why you would conclude that. I don't agree, but I know where you're getting at. Shout out to Deleted. Let me make sure I share this video here in the chat as well, man. This is a dope video.
In the music industry.
You ain't nothing.
You also never see any footage of Drake praising his blackness, but you see countless videos of Drake praising his Jew side. He also never has an opinion or voice when black injustice is going on. And to point out lyrics about weave and fat asses.
Kendrick had to frame those lyrics like he had big plans and messing with thick queens with the weave looking on point, but in reality, he was gripping on a blonde ponytail and balls deep in skinny white ass.
Was very stereotypical.
That's fine. He has every right to make me out to be the bad guy. What I'm going to tell him is this. Make me out to be the bad guy. You're only going to prove the points that people have been critical of you about. This is not a time to get defensive. You have every right to. If you want to take this as Curtis King is trying to slander me, this fucking small C grade YouTuber is trying to say something about me. He's not even full black. Let's do a deep dive on Curtis King's genealogy. Do that. But you're only going to prove the point, dog. This is the year of truth. This is not a year to be ignorant about these things. This is not a year to just like brush things off. This is a time to be like, hey, you know what? I put too much dip on my chip. I'm speaking on some shit I probably should have been speaking on. But only arrogance would lead you to not even try to look at it from anybody else's point of view. That's it. Dog me all you want. I don't give a shit. I've been on this thing long enough, bro. I got millions of views of people telling me I'm a thief and all this other shit. They ain't do nothing to me. I got kids, bro. I got kids, bro. What the fuck we talking about? I got kids, bro. What the fuck we talking about? Or parent in real life. Huh?
Distasteful to say.
Niggas got bills.
Say the least. Saying Drake is half black and his other side of the family uses it.
Because Drake is half black, the other side of his family uses it.
Again, stereotyping. How do you know his other side of the family says this? What makes you so sure? Irregardless whether his dad's side does say it or not, even if you had the proof of him saying it, Drake didn't even used to say the word correctly.
With somebody that I was like, I used to see out and be like, yo, that's that nigga, you know what I'm saying? He's doing his thing, but that's that.
Hey, yo, I hate this video. With a passion.
Somebody gonna have to tell the truth, and I'm gonna tell it.
I hate this video with a passion. I hate this video with a passion. I don't say I hate many things. I hate this video with a passion. Because even though that hard ER could have been a slip of the tongue, Freudian slip maybe, a slip of the tongue, I'm reminded of something, and I see that you're in here. What's the dirt? You know something else about Carlton I think is really interesting? I think this is when Drake started to really become Carlton in one of my favorite episodes. Did you see this real quick? One time.
Nigga, that's that nigga. Yo, that's that nigga.
You called Justin Carlton. I think you might have overlooked this one, though. Oh, man, what an episode. I know I'm going to get flagged for this. I don't care. I'll cut it out later. But check this out. Carlton goes to Compton as a challenge because Will said, you know what, man? I don't think you can survive in the hood. You feel me? You a Fresh Prince. You in a Bel Air. You ain't ready for that kind of smoke. You ain't kind of ready to smoke. And this is what happened. I'm reminded of this episode when I think about Drake being in the middle of Compton with the members. I'm reminded of this episode. You guys ever seen this one since we talking about Carlton?
I don't know, Jazz. I just feel bad for Carl, man. Like, what does he know about living in the hood? I just been half the ride over here trying to convince him not to say dynamite.
I'm gonna stop it because it's gonna get flagged.
I just feel like I'm tossing him to the Lions or something. You know what I mean? Does Detroit Lions still got those cheerleaders?
Pause.
Open the door, man.
Yes, that's right. You can buy property for no money down.
Yo, what's up?
Carlton with the members.
Carlton, what the hell are you wearing?
I was like, I used to see out and be like, yo, that's that nigga, you know what I'm saying?
Yo, this? Carlton, you look like a pirate.
This is what nuance allows you to have. Cultural nuance allows you to see even deeper than the episode of Carlton being on the fraternity and he's telling these folks, I have a different type of blackness. That's surface level experience. This allows you to see when somebody is not acting the way that they were brought up, when they're playing a role. Cultural nuance allows me to dive even deeper into this and realize there are people just like Carlton. And sometimes they appear so cool to other races, they can't see that's a Carlton. That's a Carlton. They can't see it.
Yo, stop fronting. You know this gay is chill. Why are you talking like that? Yo, how you playing me, Prince? What? Yo, you dissing me. Come on, man. Stop it.
My favorite part is when he breaks character.
Prince, lay off of him, man. We like C-Note.
C-Note?
Yeah, he was a little stiff, but he's coming around.
Drake's a little stiff, but he's coming around.
Somebody gonna have to tell the truth, and I'm gonna tell it.
When Drake's on them, I like Drake with the melodies. I don't like Drake when he act tough, but he's coming around.
Yeah, he's helping us with our business.
Hey, C-Note, how do I figure my net worth?
Yo, how many times I gotta tell you? Write your questions down, I'll hook you up later.
Talking that shit to Tiny, bro. Rest in peace to Tiny.
I'm sorry. That was rude of me, man.
Yo, we cool?
Now watch the breaking character.
They love me.
I hate it here. I hate it here. I hate it here. Continue. Deleted.
And he's doing this thing, oh, that's that nigga, oh, that's that nigga, oh, that's that nigga.
Which completely goes against Dirt's stereotype. Any black person knows by this clip alone that Drake is more white than black from his lack of awareness. When it came to the word with the hard R, this clip alone screams loud and clear that Drake truly wasn't raised around black people. And I seen a clip of What's the Dirt react to another YouTuber that goes by the name of The Company Man, where this YouTuber does a my take on Dirt's latest video, and Dirt watches and says this.
My family growing up didn't use the N-word. I made a whole video on my channel. I didn't say the N-word for 20 years.
Bro, I could kind of tell.
When he says he looks like he doesn't say nigga, which is just, man, I would for real like to throw hands after that. This dude is playing in our faces. And this is why we need to stop letting people like Dirt be tourists of the culture. They get very comfortable. It gets to their heads and overstay their welcome and start saying offensive shit. When he says that he doesn't assume all black families use the N-word, but completely contradicts himself when saying he could tell that the company doesn't say it.
He said this was a great example of me being lost because he assumed that I assumed that all black families use the N-word, and he's trying to peg that on me and put that on me. That is bullshit.
I didn't say the N-word for 20 years.
Bro, I could kind of tell.
Hey, Dirt, that's not for a white person to determine. He goes into saying that Drake is 37 years old, and because of this, Drake says the N-word 37 times, which represents every year that he's black.
And what
we've covered
it's also really clever here. I believe his reason born black.
Notice I wanted to stay on the true issue of the video, which is why I'm not including his other far takes, because even though it pissed people off and didn't make sense and he favored Drake in many ways that were clearly biased and not factual, it's still his outlook and his opinion. If he wants to far stretch and pull shit out of his ass, that's on him, and he has the right to do so, but not about black culture. That's where I draw the line.
And that's where I draw the line as well. And that's why we're having this conversation. Big dog, Matt, Big dog. This ain't no piece trying to tear you down, bro. There's more than enough folks on the internet right now that are doing it. There's folks who are talking about smear campaigns. I'm not interested. I'm not interested. What I'm interested in is that there are other perspectives out here who will probably not be heard. You know what? You're right. You do have a large audience, bro. You got a large audience, man. And those people can raise you up only so far, though. Because what you'll find out is that internet success can bring you money. Internet success can bring you notoriety. Internet success can bring you a whole lot of great things, but it doesn't always earn you respect. I can make all of these videos all day long. If people never see me in these communities, if people never see me out here helping kids.
Good night, Daddy.
Good night, Papa. I love you. I love you. Have a good night. No, he's good. He's good. It's all good. Love you. Love you. If they don't ever see that, where's the respect? If you don't see me with my son, right? I know I got a lot of content. It's because I'm taking care of my family. If you don't see me out here in this community as an artist, if I never leave the house, if I only come up with theories, and I'm not saying this as a shot to you, I hope that you continue to evolve from this moment, then people have every right to criticize what it is that you're criticizing. They have every right to challenge you. That is the contact sport, first of all, of putting your thoughts and opinions on the internet. Can't fight that. That's part of being on the internet. You know this. Because you don't get 8 million views without some people tearing your name through the dirt. I know, me being a light-skinned black male in this space, me talking the way that I have talked, me being whatever people have their own preconditioned notions of what blackness is, I know I'm going to come back to my Twitter and they're going to say a whole bunch of crazy shit to me. That don't do nothing for me, because I know that I got actual respect from real people out here. You know who else does? My guy, Justin. That's not a person that you want to sit up here and write off as just a Kendrick stan who's just all of a sudden attacking you. That's not what this is. He has every right, because you do cultural commentary about people that have lived experiences you have never lived. That is your right. He has the right to challenge you as a black American about those cultural things. That's not somebody attacking you, brother. That's not attacking. I've seen attacks. But shout out to my guy Justin, man, for meeting up with D1. You know why a D1 meets up with a Justin? Because he got respect. He's been there since the early days in this. It's not a West Coast artist. D1 has not been on the Kendrick and the Drake side. He's criticized both sides. But respect gets you that. Matter of fact, you know another great YouTuber and content creator in the YouTube space? FD Signifier. He told you, yo, this is out of pocket. The company man is a well-respected OG in the field and is incredibly gracious and gentle in his criticism. Content creation, and especially Twitter, will turn you into a hypersensitive fiend. Dog, I've been there. I've been there where I overreacted to something somebody said to me on the internet because I was like, dog, nobody does this shit in real life. Nobody's going to come in. But you learn from it, hopefully. Hopefully you learn from it and realize, you know what? I was tripping. I went off the deep end because I didn't like the way somebody was talking about me. But you know what? It wasn't my space to be jumping in here like this. Yeah, I got more views. But my views don't make me above criticism. My views don't make me above accountability. That's the only point of that, man. That's the only point of this, man. You said your girl begged you not to do it. She begged you. Shout out to your lady, man. Shout out to your lady. I don't say that with any kind of sarcasm. Shout out to your lady. I be listening to my wife, dog, and she be telling me, don't do that. Don't crash out. Because please believe, I be seeing shit every day on this internet that make me want to crash the fuck out. But I realize I got to be here for my baby boy. I can't tell my baby boy nothing. I can't tell him nothing if daddy out here crashing out 4 months from being 40. If I'm out here crashing out, I can't tell him nothing. I can't tell him nothing. But once again, they saying don't crash out, Kurt. I be promising you sometimes I just be wanting to crash the fuck out. Niggas be they be testing me. They think cause I be smiling these motherfucking thumbnails, I won't beat their ass. But I gotta chill. Cause I realize I have a responsibility. And for some people, this is their first time seeing an articulate black man that they're willing to give a listen to. without immediately writing him off as being racist, without immediately writing him off as being out of touch, without immediately writing him off as being biased, without immediately writing him off to be a Kendrick stan. I am the example. I'm not perfect, but I try my damnness to continue to evolve and be better. So I don't come here, what's the dirt, trying to like, this is not my expose of you. Like I said, there were some things said in some of these videos. I responded to the things that I agreed with. But fam, listen to your wife, bro. I listen to my wife, bro. I listen a whole lot more, and she younger. She younger, bro. You say you don't take it that way. Well, salute to you, bro, because you know what? I know some people may not be wanting to give you grace in here, but I salute you, bro. I salute you. That's big. That's big. That's big. At the end of the day, this is always my thing. Some of my best, in black culture, this is how it works. It may be dysfunctional when you hear this. I don't care. This is how it is. In black culture, for some of our experiences, your best friend didn't become your best friend until after y'all fought. Your best friend didn't become your best friend until you ran that fade. Because now you get to see what your limitations are. We don't go over those steps. We don't go over those boundaries anymore. But sometimes you got to run that friendly fade to know where the boundaries is at. My homie found out, my best friend in the whole world found out when he was calling me all kind of like Oreos and all kind. I said, bro, I don't play that shit. That's my limitation, bro. I don't fuck with that. I said something to him. He told me, I don't fuck with that. And I listened. Why? Because when you got love for a person, when you got love for a culture, you listen, not react. When you got love, you might want to react. When you got love for a person, you got love for a culture, you don't react, you listen. Because the relationship and the authenticity and the accountability means more. I hope that's what this moment was, bro. So, you know what I'm saying? I know it's going to be people out here that, they going to think that I gave you a hard time. That's not what it's about, bro. That's not what it's about. That's it, man. Just please don't, I'm not even saying please. Don't put us in the same box. Don't call us idiots, bro. When you know this man is speaking very articulately around his point, I didn't even know what the fuck hubris was. Had to Google this shit. Like, that's that academic shit. And he's found success on it. Salute to him. I believe that you're better than that. That's why you're in here right now and you're at least listening to what we gotta say. So I salute you, bro. Those are my thoughts though, DIYers. I don't got shit else. That was a long video. And don't be calling niggas milkman. Stop counting final thoughts. Where my hum button at? What that shit is over here? Here we go. Huh? Don't be counting niggas in songs. We don't need you that much of a deep dive. If you find it, there's certain things you gotta be like, nah. You feel me? Listen to your girl, bro. Huh? She was trying to help me, man. You can't call a man an idiot 15 times. You can't, like, if he says some stupid shit, yeah, but the man has articulated himself very brilliantly. You just don't agree. Don't call him an idiot. We receive that a different way. Those are my thoughts, though, DIYers. You let me know what you think. Huh?
DIY.